here, welcome back to my channel. Swatching 3 inks today. They all have a similar name and I can't wait to get into it. So I'm swatching 3 inks all with the name Earl Grey, which is a tea, obviously. 2 of these inks were given to me from my pen friend Abby. They've got such an incredible selection of inks from her, and I'm so happy to be finally getting around and to swatching a lot of them, and there's just some really beautiful ink. So today the 3 inks that I'm going to swatch are Dominant Industries Earl Grey Tea, Diamine Earl Grey, and Mita Sanshodo Earl Grey, which is bergamot scented. Let's give that a bit of a smell. And it very much does smell. I haven't tried too many scented inks. The ones I have tried, I definitely like the ones that are on the more subtle side. But I've got that one open, so that's what I'll start with. Let's start with that. My blotting paper is a little bit wet. I don't know why, but I will pop that in under there. All right, let's start. And how about we start with that one because, oh, I said I've already got it open. Doi. All right. I don't drink coffee. I do drink tea, though I have to say actually of late, I'm actually drinking a lot less. I love tea and I've just kind of stopped, possibly because I'm never able to finish it and it always gets cold and I don't like drinking cold tea. I do, however, I actually don't really like Earl Grey tea. It's a more complex kind of tea. I think I really just like English breakfast black tea with a tiny bit of milk, no sugar. And Earl Grey, you can really kind of taste the spices in it, which is lovely, but I find it's almost like too much for me. Wow, look at that color. That is a beautiful color. Look how deep that is. Oh wow, sorry, I get sidetracked when I look at the ink. So what's jumping out at me at this is just the depth and the richness of that color. That's just so, so beautiful. Is it a red? Is it I don't even know what I call that. I think it may be like a red orange. Whatever it is, it's really, really gorgeous. I can't even think really off the top of my head what it reminds me of. It's really beautiful. Super interested to see how those darker bits dry. I wonder if some brown's gonna come through. But first impression is wow, basically. I was gonna lean over and definitely can get that scent coming through. It isn't super overpowering, which is a tick for me. When I started drinking tea, I used to drink tea with a whole lot of milk and 3 sugars, which is crazy now that I think about it. And I started babysitting for a very dear friend of mine. It started off as 2 kids. There are now 3 and they're not kids anymore, they're grown-ups. But I started babysitting for her and she's English and she saw me make a tea and she was like, absolutely not. I think the English in her was like, just no, you can't drink a tea with 3 sugars and that much milk. And over time it actually did just get too sweet and the milk just made it feel really diluted and watered down. The sugars were the first thing to go and then less and less milk. And actually now if someone puts sugar in my tea, I actually can't stand the taste whatsoever. So there you go, that's the journey of my tea. Well, I guess that was super interesting for everyone, not? Look at this as it dries. Can you see just these bits coming across here? This really beautiful, deep, deep, deep orangey red with the bits of brown and that halo coming through. In the writing sample, there are touches of shading. I think in the right pen, I'm thinking this isn't the right nib for lots of shading, but just a beautiful color to write with. That is really gorgeous. What a warm color. Does it look like a cup of Earl Grey tea? Probably not. I don't know if any of these do, to be honest, but that's okay. Next up is Diamine Earl Grey. I've swatched this ink before. I love this ink. From memory, I haven't actually used it in a few months, but I have seen other people swatch it and I think it might be quite paper dependent because on some paper it can look a lot more purple and other ones more grey, and then again, on other papers or other people's swatching videos, quite blue. I'm guessing it might also be an ink that's quite sensitive to the camera and then the light that you're seeing. So it'll be interesting to see in this light with this camera, which is just my phone, what comes up. This ink though, for me, is a really great grey. It's diamine, so you know that it's just going to be a well-behaved ink. I think when I first swatched it, I made some joke about, oh, it doesn't look like Earl Grey, which I realized I just made another joke like that then, and people pointed out that it may be named after a historical figure, which is very much probably the case. Oh, that is not clean, so before I mess that up, how about I do this? It's also, that actually is my first ever time swatching a Mita San Shodo ink, which I know really nothing about the brand. It kind of sounds Japanese, but if that's anything to go by, I definitely need to look into more of their inks, because that is really something. I think that's a really gorgeous ink. All right, let's just kind of come in here, do some tappy taps. I don't drink coffee, which as a mum of young kids is probably a bit cray-cray. I don't like the taste. I actually really don't like the smell, to be honest, as well, of coffee. I find it really overpowering. It makes me feel a bit ill. When I lived in Sydney, I lived with my aunt and uncle, and their favorite ice cream was a Sara Lee ice cream, and it was a coffee flavored ice cream, and it was like vanilla with like a coffee swirl through it, and then it had these like chunks of chocolate, and that was amazing. And just because I lived with them, it was kind of the only ice cream in the house. Not that I couldn't have got my own, but I ate that. I think it was called Moccona, and that's kind of the only coffee thing I've ever really liked. I'll eat, like, I mean, I don't mind tiramisu, but I guess if I'm liking anything coffee-esque, it's in some sort of dessert and it has a buttload of sugar in it and cream, and it's not really coffee, you know? It's never been for me, coffee, but tea I do have a soft spot for. So looking at this thing, I mean, I actually just can't get over this as it dries. Look at the kind of, it's not even a pink, it's like a light burgundy coming through, kind of. And these dark bits, wow. This one here, Diamine Earl Grey, I love this. It's a purpley blue-grey ink. Here it looks kind of purple grey to me more, but I can see these bits of blue coming through where it's gone down a little bit lighter. There's actually a blue halo forming there. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you have not tried this ink, you absolutely should. It really is one of my favorites. Every now and then I make myself like a big Cult Pens cart, and I make it big because there's lots that I want, but also to kind of get to that international free shipping cost. And Diamine Earl Grey, a bottle of that is always in the cart, like every single time, because I just love it. I would love actually to keep like a bottle of this at work, because I think it's work appropriate, but it's also interesting. And even in that writing sample down there, you can see the, oh God, I'm so silly, it's not even in frame. In the writing sample down there, sorry, it looks just like a really nice warm grey, but I think it's interesting, but it's legible. I just think all in all, beautiful ink. If you can't tell, really love Diamine Earl Grey. Oh man, I'm like a fangirl and I'm shaking things. All right. Last but not least is an ink I'm so excited to be able to try because I've seen a lot of people swatch it and it seems to have a lot of love. It's Dominant Industries Earl Grey Tea. My only thing with Dominant Industry, it's not a thing, but the couple that I've tried in pens have been quite dry. Now, I could be putting them in the wrong pens, but I've tried a couple of inks and I've just found that's just been my overall experience of their inks, which does make me a little bit hesitant, but every time I've seen people swatch this, it's just looked really, really beautiful. So I'm excited, I should say, to be able to give it a go. And what I haven't done, which I do every time, is think about where I'm actually going to write the name. So maybe I'll leave a bit of space in there. it doesn't. I'm kind of learning a bit about when things are dry and how they spread through the plastic, and it's not doing that, which is a good sign. Wow, that is a punchy ink. I didn't realize it was so orange. So this, I'm wondering, will be interesting to see how it dries. The first comparison that jumps out at me is maybe Color vs. Martian, but this is more saturated, or I don't know, it's a bit different, but it's just a really dark, punchy orange. I guess it has more of a relationship to the one up here in terms of that kind of warmer red-orange family. It looks browner in the vial. I'm not sure if that's going to come out in the writing sample a bit, or maybe when it dries. What do you think? Can we write in here? It doesn't feel crazy dry on this nib, which is a good sign. It actually feels okay, which the other ones I could almost tell straight away, even with this dip pen, that it was going to be on the dry side. So that's a positive in my books. It's weird, not weird, it's interesting when it's drying in these much lighter bits. You're not really getting any of that shading in there. It looks really lovely as a writing sample, but I just keep getting drawn to this first one up here. That's gorgeous. I actually can't think of a comparison. Maybe Ume Sailor. Sorry, that would have been loud. I just want to see if I can find, you know what, before I do anything, let's put that lid back on, because we all know me. I'm wondering if that's like, yeah, a little bit. This has quite a big green sheen to it, and is maybe a bit more burgundy, but in those darker bits, that's quite similar. I actually like it more without the sheen. What a beautiful ink. Oh, I feel like I raced through that, but I just got excited once I swatched that first one. So what I'll do is I'm going to come up close and just show you the three of, oh no, the three of them. So up the top, we have Mitas Sanshoto Earl Grey, which is like a reddy burgundy, Diamine Earl Grey in the middle there, and down here, Dominant Industry Earl Grey. And then I closed the page on myself because of course I did. Look, this one has absolutely blown me away. I think that's such a beautiful, beautiful color. I really want to be able to ink that up as soon as possible. Diamine Earl Grey, I already knew that I loved. This Dominant Industry one, I think it's really beautiful ink. I don't know if it's a touch too orange for what I usually gravitate towards, but if you do like those kind of orange colors, I think this would be a really interesting one to pop into a pen. Okay, I've I've talked really fast, but I was just excited by this guy up here. I will leave it there for now. I would love to know what your favorite of the three is. And if you've used other Mitas Sanshoto inks, please let me know in the comments what they are, because I definitely want to do some research on that. That is just really, really beautiful. All right, guys, I will see you next time. If you could hit like and subscribe as always, that would be amazing. I'll chat to you again soon. Bye.